Losing in a fighting game is actually a good thing. Now, hear me out. I was just talking to my buddy about this the other day. We were talking about, how casuals and new players and beginners get into any game, let alone fighting games, because fighting games are very mono. They're one-on-one. So, of course, the goal, the thing that gives you dopamine is the you win screen. And people do not really like seeing the you lose screen, but losing is a good thing.
Take it one step at a time.
Now you might be saying, Onestep, what are you crazy? Why would you want to lose? I'm not saying you want to lose, but you almost want to. And here's why. Like when you lose in a fighting game, and hear me out here, when you lose in any game, your first thought should be, why did I lose that? Whether it be Call of Duty, Fortnite, if you're last two on Fortnite and he just outbuilds you and he comes around the edge and corner and pops you in the head and he wins, what happened? You replay that in your head. You replay that like, oh, how should I have won that? Like, what could I have done better to have won that? And the same thought process you should be thinking about for fighting games, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, Guilty Gear, whatever you're playing. How do I solve this? How do I win? Even if you're playing a single player game, you're playing Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Astrobot, whatever, you're trying to beat a boss or a level, your first thought is, how do I win? What habits am I seeing from my opponent? What habits or whatever am I seeing from the boss that I'm fighting or this level that I can't get past? Your brain is solving this puzzle. Your brain is trying to think, how do I get past this obstacle? And in a fighting game case, the obstacle is your opponent. So I'm just going to give you an example. I know that a bad habit of mine is jumping in. First of all, I know it's not really a good idea to like always jump in, and I get punished for it a lot. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there's quite a few times where that action has cost me the game, where I think I'm safe and I know better and I jump in, I get anti-aired, I get punished, and I lose the game. So the answer isn't that the opponent was better than me. It's that I made a bad call and I chose to jump in when I know better. And so you have to have that self-reflection of, okay, so when we're both at 10%, 20% or whatever, I am at a good pace to jump in. I'm not going to do that. And I got to now find a different way, a better way to solve this puzzle, to solve this obstacle in my way, because I know that jumping in is not going to work, especially versus this opponent, because he knows we're on round 2, we're on set 2, whatever. He knows that I want to jump in, so he's waiting for it. He's like begging at this is him. He's like, oh, jump in one step. Once you jump in, I'm going to anti-air you and win like I did last game. And that's exactly what's going to happen if you don't learn from your mistakes. So if I don't jump in, 2 things happen. 1, I'm learning from my mistakes. And then 2, my opponent is like, oh, he's not jumping in. Okay, so now I have to play differently now too. So you're making your opponent switch their fighting style up on the fly as well. So now they have to rethink their strategy, their action, because they were counting on me, jumping in. And because I'm not now, they also now have to find a way to win this game rather than counting on me jumping in, because I know that's a mistake. I know they're waiting for them. Now that is a very simple answer, very simple example. Whether it be jumping in or doing an armored wake up that you're gonna get kicked out of, or not wasting your bar for this and saving your fatal blow for that. There's a lot of factors that you can learn from the you lose screen. So when you lose, it is frustrating. I'm not saying don't get mad. I'm not saying, guys, it's totally fine if you lose. But what I am saying, it's a good thing, especially if you look back, you zoom out and you have to have critical self-awareness and go, okay, what did I do wrong? Now, though I will say there's always something to work on. We could always lab more. You guys know I love that. We can always lab more. We could always get better, master our combos, master the blocking and whatnot. But I'm not going to lie to you. Though I'm saying this and I'm making this video right now to say losing is a good thing and here's why, I will also give the caveat of sometimes the opponent is just on another level. Sometimes it seems that your opponent just makes all the right reads, all the right calls, and you just can't do anything. And you might be like, well, what do I do there? What do I look back on? What do I self-reflect on in moments like that? It's not that I jumped in and I can learn from that, which you can. It's just that I was doing everything wrong. And sometimes you do that. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you can step back and go, I was doing all the wrong calls here. He was making all the right calls and I was just doing all this, and that. You have a lot to learn from. But I think a lot of times you have to just sit back and choose a single thing at first. If you can work on one thing at a time, taking it one step at a time, and work on those things. So for me, I am trying my best and trying to get better at not jumping in, especially at the tight moments, the wrong moments, especially if I see my opponent anti-air all the time. They're really good at it. I'm trying to find better ways to close that distance without jumping in. And then another thing I'm trying to work on is not doing, for an example, Raiden's fly move is super unsafe. And I like to use that to get across the screen, but a lot of times that distance, when I use it, their block actually stops me, and I'm like, oh, well, here's a full-on punish. So I kind of use that for another get-in tool. So I'm trying, I don't want to jump in, so I fly in. That gets punished, okay? So I don't want to jump in or fly in. My teleport's unsafe, so I'm trying to find all these ways. I'm trying to find the answer to this puzzle of how to close the distance with my character. How do I close the distance against my opponent? And that is on me. I have to find that answer, find that way, and that makes me a better fighter. So what I'm trying to get across, the point I'm trying to make here, is losing is a good thing as long as you have self-awareness and you learn from your mistakes, because doing so, self-reflection, will make you a better player. If you never learn and you never go, oh, I messed up on this, and you do not fix your mistakes, you're gonna, one, never grow as a fighter, and you're always gonna blame your opponent. Like, oh no, they're all just better than me. It's like, well, sure, but it's because they learned from their mistakes. They saw your bad habits and they were punishing your habits. So like, it's not that they were better at self-awareness. They were better at adapting on the fly. And those are some skills that I think take a while to really master and get down. It's not for everybody, which is why I think fighting games can be daunting for a lot of people, because they think that it's like a different level of game, when in reality, Call of Duty, Marvel Rivals, Fortnite, you are adapting on the fly. You have to learn how to play the game. You gotta learn how to fight the Hulk in Marvel Rivals. Oh, okay, what's a good answer for this? You do that in those games, guys. Okay, my opponent's building a skyscraper at me in Fortnite. What do? You learn how to build skyscrapers back. You know what I'm saying? Like you do this learning thing in any other genre of gaming, but for some reason, people separate fighting games and say, I don't want to learn how to do this. It's going to take way too long. But then they'll go spend 8 hours in quick play Call of Duty and just learn how to get better at that, so they can go play a rank to get better at that. The same concept exists in fighting games. It's just people aren't, for some reason, willing to spend a little bit of time in the lab to master a combo and then go play casuals and learn for every single loss that they have. The weird phenomenon that like I don't know how to like get across or talk about or explain, but here I am now trying to explain why losing in moderation is a good thing overall. I don't know, man. These are just like my thoughts coming off the dome. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Do you agree that losing again in moderation is a good thing? Are you good at self-awareness? Are you learning from your mistakes? Are you implementing the thing that you learn in your next fight? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you guys want more content like this, subscribe here for more. We have new videos twice a week. We got daily shorts and we stream all the dang time. Have a great night. Be safe out there. Take it one step at a time, and I will see you in the next video and or stream.